Hello squirrels and welcome back to PPM6 TV. Today what it is the SE Dynacaster continues its pursuit of your podcasting dollars, pounds and euros. And we're going to put it up against the Shure SM7B. Enough said, it's a classic. It's a classic. It's a heavyweight classic, but it's also a heavyweight gain monster. And the SE has a built-in booster, which we have in circuit. If you want to hear it without the booster, check out my other video. And that booster is powered by 48-volt phantom, which is a trick I first saw in the Aston Stealth, which also has different voicings. The SE Dynacaster has different filters to produce the same effect. So we've got a lot to get through today. Tune in. First up, the bass cut, and I'm going to move in now. I'll lower my voice just in case. I'm trying to help it with the pop factor. I'm going in close. That's where the bass tip up is, or the presence boost, or the proximity boost, whichever one you want to call it. And I'm right in close, and hopefully maybe a little bit of bass roll off will help there. I'll be able to work closer without unnaturally distorting my voice. Of course, the problem might be that when you go further back, you're losing that bass might be a bit of a problem. So here's the bass boost. I had somebody complaining on one of my videos that my voice sounded a little bit thin, well, unlike my waistline, and so maybe a bit of bass boost will be good, although the danger is, of course, that when I get close, that the proximity effect is going to double up on that bass and maybe sound it muddy, make it sound muddy and indistinct. Anyway, here's your chance to see, or I'll go back to a more working level and maybe distance, and here maybe you'll think, oh yeah, he is, although a bit portly, he is needing a bit of extra weight in his voice. One thing I would say is the dip switches on the back for changing the things, they're a pain. You need a screwdriver or a pen, and you kind of eventually you're going to wear it round. So, I mean, it's not too big a deal because I think you choose the thing that you like and you leave it there. You don't twiddle with it every 5 minutes. But nonetheless, better switches, SE. That's what I say. The Dynacaster has two top-end boosts. This is the gentler of them, the first setting. And I should mention while I'm here, I've only got 20 dB of gain in this. Can you believe it? Because I've got 30 dB of onboard gain. And so really, you can use this with almost any mic amp, even the Flow, even the Behringer Flow, which only has 40 dB, will comfortably amplify this and keep you in the ballpark. And finally, with the Dynacaster, we've got its biggest amount of top-end boost. Now, I should say I've only got 20 dB of mic amp gain in. That's all I need because I've got the 30 dB of onboard gain. Do listen out for noise. There's a couple of people saying, oh, you get slightly more noise, a slight amount of more noise with the onboard mic amp than you do if you've got good clean gain in your preamps. I haven't found that yet, but I put that out there just in case. And here we are in Aston Stealth. Well, now the Stealth was the first mic I've ever tried with a built-in gain booster. It has a Class A microphone amp in there, which is entirely controlled by phantom power. You switch the phantom power on, in comes the boost, you switch it off, out it goes. Now that's quite nice because you've got remote control of it, although be warned, I did get caught out on recalling a digital desk on a mixer with recallable settings, and the channel which previously hadn't got phantom power in it now did have phantom power, and suffice to say I rang the room very, very effectively, so be warned. Now of course the SE gets round that by having an inline switch, so you can either switch that permanently on, of course, and it would behave just like the Stealth with remote control, or you could switch it out and then have control of that feature at the mic end rather than at the desk end. It would be up to you. Now, in terms of voicing, the Stealth doesn't offer filters. It offers 4 different voices on individual circuit boards contained within the mic. And down at the bottom there, you can just see that there's a little bit of a glow where there's a ring, an LED there to tell you that the phantom power is on. And down there's also a ring, which is not as easy to move as you might think, but well, maybe that's a good thing, where you can select one of the 4 voices. I'm in voice 1 here, which is kind of, they say, aimed at the male voice, although they don't say that very loudly. On to voice 2. Now these voices were picked after consultation with up to 33 experts, which I suppose does show Aston's commitment to getting the voicing right, and V2 is supposed to suit lighter voices than V1. Now I have 2 niggles, well at least 2 with the Stealth, and I'll tell you what they are as we move on through the other voices. Next is G. G is G for guitar, either acoustic or guitar cab, so we'll have a listen to see what Aston thinks that should sound like. Here is G. Now niggle number 1 is that the Aston has a built-in sorbothane suspension and a pop shield and everything, but it's not that effective. So I mean, I'm using the Hark and Pop Killer on all the mics, but this one particularly needs it, I think. So that's the GER setting and my issue with popping. Onwards for the next setting, the last setting, which is D for dark, and my final issue. D for dark, which is supposed to emulate ribbon mics, the dark, warmer sound of ribbon mics. Well, now whether you can emulate that in a circuit board of the EQ, I don't know. But maybe it's nice to have options. You know, we're often presented with problems where a slightly different sound may just be the very dab. So this is Aston's take on a ribbon mic with a dynamic capsule. My other issue. The mic has a very clever insertable mic clip, and it's right down that end. And this is a big, heavy old mic. So all your leverage, or your leverage, I think, is being applied around that point, which is right at the end. And so if you haven't got everything tight, it will droop, it will swing. And if you hang it upside down, it's all hanging from that very clever arrangement. And we don't want our nice microphone to fall on the floor, now do we? Which brings us to another mic we don't want to drop on the floor, the SM7B. And last, but by no means least, the Shure SM7B. And nobody ever got fired for having one of these in their studio or on their podcast. The SM7B here is set to flat mode. It does have two onboard filter options, one a bass roll-off, one a presence boost. The switches are better than the SEs in terms of accessibility, but they're still a pain in the backside. Anyway, let's go and we'll start with a bit of bass roll-off. So, having wielded my trusty screwdriver, we're now in bass roll-off. I'm going to get right in close now so that you can hear how it deals with the proximity effect of being very close. I'm not actually eating it because I've got the Hark and Pop Killer kind of defending me from getting too close, but that's an idea of the bass roll-off. I'm going to take that out now and put the presence boost in. Okay, bass roll-off is out and presence boost is in, and you might think that you'll need this, and you may well do, because dynamic mics do not sound, generally speaking, as bright at the top end as a condenser microphone. In fact, when the great condenser classics were first introduced, they were considered, almost too bright in studios back in the 50s. However, now we might be very used to that sound, and having a little bit of a push in the presence area might well be very useful indeed. And finally, I can combine them both to give you maximum Shure deviation. Hang on for that. So, presence boost and bass cut, I'm going to get close in to give you the benefit of this. I mean, this should be warm, but not too warm, and it should be punchy, but not aggressive. It should be, should it be perfect? I don't know. It depends what you like, really. That's part of the problem, is that we all like different things. And the nice thing, I guess, is that all the mics that I've looked at today do offer you options, because, hey, we can't have too many options when life is as difficult as it is. Well, close of play brings me back to the SE Dynacaster. And just a note on gains, this has 20 dB of gain. The Aston Stealth had 12 dB of gain. And the Shure SM7B had 53 dB of gain. And that's probably not really enough for the old warhorse. Anyway, I hope this has been an interesting comparison between three deservedly popular mics. I think the SE has an awful lot to offer at the price point with the facilities it has, but hopefully this has given you a chance to make up your mind. Thanks for dropping by. Do subscribe, it does help, and come back soon. We love to have you with us. Bye for now.